SMART24, driving business.
We'll be back from the break, and thank you very much for sticking to Smart Means Business. It's Friday, 23rd of December 2022, and of course, we are into our last segment of this particular week, and of course, the last segment of the show as well this Friday morning. This is Smart24 TV. We are on GoTV Channel 394, DST TV Channel 372, and online you can get us on YouTube, Smart24 TV Live. If I told you want to stream wherever you're heading to, more so those who are actually heading into the festive season celebrations as they're going back to their ancestral homes, or what you would call the rural setting, the villages. But of course, during this time, you should as well be advised that Zabu is a platform by Altec East Africa that is giving you advantages to invest in bonds and securities. So it's a no hassle, and you can definitely kickstart off your investment journey today with Zabu. Zabu says that my money, my future. So definitely your money can be your future. Use the USSD code *292#, choose a preferred maturity period for your bond, and then move into a situation that is better for yourself. And of course, if you are to continue looking throughout the world of business, it is ideally so important for you to have a range of business options and alternatives that have quite many in all aspects. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Do remember that these markets also open only during working days, Monday to Friday. They are only closed on public holidays and during the weekends. Zabu, my money, my future. But by Altec East Africa, which says do something new. All right, now this time around, as we look at the SMB weekly topics discussion with Barija Andrew in it, we are apparently going to be centering our discussion around the festive season as the traffic within the central business district stretching all the way to the port of Mombasa, and of course stretching down to the port in Dar es Salaam. Now the coastline in East Africa is having lots of tourists coming in. If you're to look at the numbers that are getting to Mombasa, those that are heading to Zanzibar, those that are actually heading to Dar es Salaam, most of them apparently been there for a month as the festive celebrations kick off. Christmas is Sunday, but it's rainy in Uganda, and you can see that it's something that you should be well prepared of. So really well prepared for. But remember to be cautious as you're heading to your villages and as you're using the road. Now, with Barija Andrew in here, we have to discuss more about what has been making headlines across the week with what we've been having here on the show, as well as the trending news in the business world. We'll be back, Andrew.
Thank you very much. Hope you're good.
Yeah.
Good, ready for the festive season.
Yeah.
It's just it's so interesting. The previous Christmas season was the previous Christmas was on Saturday, Sunday, Boxing Day, and it's still on the week. It still comes back to the weekend. It's still on the weekend, and that is something very, very interesting. And quite lots have been really happening into the world, of business regarding that. Maybe if we can start briefly before we get into to center our conversation on the festive season. How business is transferring. Maybe just a little brief on the weekly topics we've been talking about on SMB on ground. There was something about we had an assessment regarding the logistics performance, the logistics industry, and and according to the people that I reached out to, there was quite a positive trend, and we saw that the opening of the Rwanda-Uganda border provided a boost to the business. At the same time, we saw the Sudanese, opening up that aspect of the Sudanese business forum. That was with the Sudanese private sector and the Uganda private sector. The forum that was launched in South Sudan, also provided a certain, a milestone to the logistics industry, because we know that it's capital intensive, and it's quite very expensive. Like its services are quite a little bit expensive. And when I reached out to this person, actually, is the vice chairperson of Uganda Cargo's Consolidators Association.
Yeah.
And he was saying that the only thing they're calling up to government is to ensure that there is subsidization, because the fees are quite so high and not so many people can actually afford them. And now we also saw that the emergence of Uganda Airlines, ever since it resumed its operations, that was in 2021. Yes, there was a certain also boost into the logistics, this moving of goods from here to the other. So unfortunately, this year still there have been some little shortfalls from that industry. We saw the aspect, the instability in Congo causing a little bit of some difficulty in trade. He actually made an example. He gave an example that they had to deliver 1,000 tray of eggs somewhere, and that's from Congo here to Uganda, but because of the instability, the deal was a little bit delayed. So that was quite some of the discussions that we had regarding that. Then from that we came down to the pharmaceutical industry, assessing, pharmacies and trying to assess how it's been performing, and we came to realize that actually in this year alone there has been emergency of many pharmacies running business, and at the same time there has been lots of pharmacies closing. And this expert was saying the reason why the emergency of many and why they imagine still massive closure. Some people come into this business with expectations of, I'm going to make money, because they see, health is a priority. People will come, but they don't know what it really takes to run a pharmacy. And that has caused issues. Majority came, and then majority is still moving down. Because I was so surprised that, that attendants on a pharmacy, the salary is we are talking about 1.2 million, the list. And lately they are demanding for 2 million now.
Why is it so profitable? Is it all the pharmacies, all the well-established ones?
Well,
because you see, sometimes you get to realize that maybe we may discuss pharmacies, and there are some pharmacies that we know cannot afford 1.2 million. Okay, and that would be maybe a monthly or 2 months profit for the owner of the pharmacy. Okay,
I'm looking at the pharmacy which is up to the standards and licensed by the National Drug Authority.
Okay, which has got a lot of employee base.
It's the employee base, yeah. I mean, most of these, should I tell you something? I remember we're still there, and do you know like how KCCA people pass by town to inspect businesses?
True.
National Drug Authority officials still move around, and they can close a pharmacy if you don't have a license.
Yes, that's very true. Because it's people's life at stake in it.
Very perfect. So you get to realize that if the pharmacy is up to the standard, and there is a certain minimum capital that is required. Because remember, the medicines alone, to store them, there is a certain temperature. Actually, the lady that was operating told me they use solar power. They don't use this hydroelectricity. It has to be constant. Remember, this is people's life. These are drugs they demand, and that demand calls for an investment. That means all this before you are given a license. The authorities have to look through this. That means you have the capability to pay somebody 1.2 million. A pharmacist, an attendant, that regard. So you get to see how interesting that is. And actually, maybe when we discussed the hindrances of the business, was the aspect of self-medication. I mean, lots of people can't afford full doses in that regard. So they take up doses, but still, they're trying to revise different plans on how they can actually handle them in a way that is a little fair, for them to transact business, but still when people are still coming in through. So you get to realize that whole aspect.
Oh, okay.
So those were really been the big highlights on the SMB on ground this week, and probably now we can have an insight regarding how have you, we're heading into the festive season.
Yeah,
our business people are saying people are not there to buy, but you go to town, you find a bunch of people.
The traffic in town.
Traffic is crazy.
Even according to some of the people already in town right now, despite the fact that there's heavy rains that are pushing through, you get to realize there are already people who are in town today morning to at least catch up. There's also this kind of belief that in most cases we tend to get things cheaper during the festive season traffic.
Yeah.
And traders, especially those dealing in clothes or dealing in the simple essentials that most of the people desire to have during the festive season, tend to also decrease the prices. Though others increase because they know now there are lots of people who are buying. Yes, people need them. Then you have to increase. They will still buy because people during the festive season are free to spend their money. They've been saving for a full year, for a season.
Perfect.
And then you realize to some, as the season is coming closer, more so once Christmas is coming over, coming closer, people tend to start by selling off things cheaply because they know they want to get done with the old stock to welcome in 2023 rather, with new stock this time round. But of course, businesses are having few customers because few have the money, and then the ones who have the money are also bargaining. They have a lot of bargaining power. So you're either going to just sell off your product because it's the festive season coming and you also need some money with you, or face it rough at the end of it all with the stock that you're still having.
Yeah, actually, very, very right. And the trade, I also got a chance to reach out to one of the business leaders, trade leaders, leading a certain trade organization in downtown there. And, he was trying to give me an insight. He's saying that, when we are starting 2022, remember that was on 31st when the president actually officially opened the economy. And there were anticipations that things are going to get much more better in that aspect. But we came and were hit with the crisis. That's the Ukraine crisis, the Ukraine-Russia crisis, which later impacted onto the prices of the global fuel prices. Now, that drained quite a lot of expensive, goods were very expensive, spending money, and actually I think fuel reached up to 6,690 or 70. I think that was almost coming to 7,000. But thank God it didn't reach 7,000. We don't know what would have happened. But then we saw it coming from there. It started to decline a little bit slowly by slowly. And we thought probably the prices of goods are going to reduce, So you get to realize that even looking at Uganda's inflation since February, because you remember actually in Port Poto, where a sack of Irish potatoes was going for, was it about 200,000? It shows you how serious that was. So that drainage, despite the fact that the fuel prices are reducing, and but remember, there was quite a big expense at that time. A lot of money was drained from the masses, from that particular time. So that aspect has made people, the consumers, probably the money they would have spent during such a time, most of it went into the essentials at that moment, the demand were, because schools were opening up to do all this and all this. So right now, this trade leader was telling me, business is hard, and business is hard, But then I told him, but why am I seeing people here? Coming back to that point you say, some sell things because they just want to get money.
It is the festive season. You need to have something to
take home. But you see, the danger of this is this. There is a month which we all know, which is always tricky, January. Now, if you bought your stock and probably, it's okay, I'm assuming you made a loss of 2 million because you wanted, vis-a-vis the money you spent to get the goods, but yes, you may have your 5 million, but yet you could have made 8 million if you stood by your price. That loss of 3M, trust me, is going to impact you for the next 4 months. You see that? And something which I still think it's a little, and I know we need money this festive season, but I really think it's unwise for a trader to really go that path. Because you're not looking through, you're not projecting that loss of 3 million, what it's going to do for you in the next 5 months for you to recover back once again into that particular aspect. So that's what is really happening. Because traders are saying things are expensive. Actually someone was saying we don't know why they're not buying. And some of us are not even selling things very expensive. We don't really just understand. But it's just the trauma that we consumers still have of the COVID-19, and we learned to live on realizing that, there are needs and wants. We've learned to prioritize our expenditure. That also explains why it's happening that way. Remember that, those days and Christmas, you flash out all this, but at some point, I really think the pandemic was very fair in that way to minimize, to help us realize that, okay, yeah, certain things we want them, but they're not really necessary to our well-being. And, sometimes you're investing in things which are not going to even bring back money to no return at the end of the day.
And of course, as we're heading into the festive season, just for you to as well know that you should be very cautious while using these highways. There's a lot of traffic on Masaka Road, Masakambara Road, people heading to northern Uganda. We've got people heading to eastern Uganda now for the festive season. But remember, you may be good at driving, but how about your neighbors? How good are they? So these are things that you should be cautious about. The accidents that are coming in, you find out that the main cause of the accident may be due to someone who is unprofessional or having poor driving etiquettes and all that. But then you, as an individual who is good at driving, becomes the victim. So you always have to be cautious while using these roads at the end of the day, as you're traveling back home, and maybe when you will be coming back to Kampala to do more of the business. But steadily, as we're looking through this, the festive season is ahead of us. It is a rainy season, trust me. And it's going to be a slippery, rainy season, slippery Christmas celebration. So you should be expecting any kind of weather changes whatsoever. So you should not only plan for a sunny day, it may rain and surprise you and shock you for the rest of the month. Like now, it is really raining across the country and in most parts of the country, if I'm to put it into right context. And of course, that is entirely the team here at Smart Means Business. What we do definitely is we want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Sunday is Christmas.
Exactly.
And we can as well wish you a Happy New Year, though we shall still wish you one once we are into 2023. But for now, we wish you a Merry Christmas. Enjoy, but stay safe, and make sure that you share with the loved ones. It's a season of sharing, love, caring, and of course interacting with those that matter in life.
Very, very true. And actually, you mentioned about the aspect of, accidents.
Yeah.
Today morning, across the express highway to Sega, I found a truck down. It had overturned.
Wow.
The tires were up.
We really need to be, and that,
really,
that is the same place where you find people heading to Mitiana, same areas around there. Those who are heading to Mbarara using that same route, Busega. So please be cautious. And of course, this is Smart Means Business today, 23rd of December 2022. We wish you a blessed day. It's a cold one, and of course, still Boxing Day on Monday, when we'll be returning to give you more business updates and what is trending from the world of business. Good morning.